Jacinda, we spoke earlier. We don't know each other. We've never met. You reached out to me a couple days ago. We're in the same situation as a lot of people in the United States, across the world. I have my friends from Italy where I live. There's a sense of frustration and wanting to do something. I think you're given the platform here, and that's why so many people have responded. I've been locked in my house for 2 months. I am not coming out. But the necessity to respond and say, yes, I went out today in the middle of the tornado to get a mask. Because I don't go out because I know this pandemic is a serious thing. But I want to say thank you so much. And you're in a young body. I don't know how old you are, but it's a sign of hope for all of us because it means that not everybody is looking at things in a certain way. And there are people that want to change and have a positive world that we live in. So I thank you for just having me, for reaching out to me. Thank you. And I know it's hard. I can see the frustration. I can see the stress. But you know what? That says that this has touched your heart. It's touched who you are. And that's what I wanted to talk about. You wanted me to relate in terms of, the Still family. Because in Medford, the Still family is a founding family in Medford, and it just happens to be a family of African descent. And so I was thrilled whenever I get a chance, an opportunity to talk about my ancestors. Of course, it's wonderful, but I wrote down a couple of things, so I won't be long. I want to get real specific because we're living in a time now that with what's going on, people are looking for solutions, and they're looking for some peace, I think. So I am Valerie Still. I'm the great-great-granddaughter of Dr. James Still. You in Medford know him probably. His medical office I had the state of New Jersey state in 2005. It became the first and only African-American historic site owned by by New Jersey. And so I was so proud that they came in and saved that. And so Dr. James is well respected. There's a park. But we were going to meet at that park today, but it was at Freedom Park, actually, where all these people that you're talking about wanted to show up and be a part of it. So I really appreciate you having me, even now, working through all this and giving me this opportunity, because we're all trying to figure out what the hell is going on in our country, right? So, of course, first and foremost, what's on my mind is George Floyd. I have not watched the video, but I know, and I've never met him, but I know he was a peaceful, powerful, wonderful soul, just pure energy. I know that because we all are. And when we relate, we're relating on that level there. And so we're not these bodies that we live in. These are just like our vehicles we use. And when the body dies, it turns back to dust, but our energy is still there. And so that's who we are. And I believe that George today is in total peace because that's his original self. That's his original form. As you know, that police officer, I have not watched the video. I'm not going to put that in my soul. It's not to say that I'm trying to be naive or whatever, but I don't want to put that in my soul. I could see the picture, the still pictures, to get enough information that I don't need to see the whole video. But as that police officer placed his knee on George's neck, wanting to destroy him, wanting to take his life, and it was all about attempt to dominate and control it. That's what it was, basically. And an attack that attacked his body. And as he was taking his last breath, I can't breathe, and thinking that he had succeeded, I believe that in that point, when George released his soul, his essence, he was totally free. He was totally liberated. As difficult as that is to hear, that's what I like to focus in on. That's painful, how many minutes he was in that situation. He had lived a life of oppression. If you think about it, he was freed from all that insidious oppression, all the dehumanization, all the marginalization, all the disenfranchising, all the devaluing of humanity, all the covert systemic racism that African Americans live in every day. He was free from that, as terrible as it sounds. And it's painful. I guess it's painful to watch. I haven't seen. We all know that America's had this oppression or obsession with the domination of people of African descent. That's just a fact. away from it. It's not to push blame on anybody, but it's just the fact that it's been that way. Slavery was the legalization of the dehumanization of people, where certain Americans could inhumanely treat or even own other people as property. Think about that. You're young. I don't know how old you are, but just think about that concept where you could actually own somebody, their physical body. And it was all attempts to control the mind and also to dominate the true essence of a person. And the fact is, you can never dominate somebody's true essence. As much as you try to physically, you can never dominate somebody's soul. So we know that because when George's body, when you see him, he succumbs to this fatal act of evil. When you see, I just saw the still pictures, distorted face, lifeless face, pushed into the asphalt, with this huge police officer's knee in his neck, as he's trying to take his last breath, and as he took his last breath, and it's being videotaped in broad daylight. The whole scenario of this, it's like a modern day lynching. There's no way you can look at that and not say that's just pure evil. Can you see it in any other way than pure evil? And as George's soul was released, I believe his true essence, like his power, his peace, his unlimited energy, it was free, and he soared. It released him. He was out of that hell, the hell that he had to live in each and every day, based solely treated differently, inferior, just based on his skin color. It's insane to me that you could treat somebody that way just based on their skin color. For me, George's soul is his peace, is at peace right now. He's finally freed from this life of hell. And I think he's leading us and guiding us. In this act, he's released, and look at how all hell has broke loose in the United States. He's able to guide us in a different way. And we all know, each one of us, we know what's right, we know what's wrong, we know what evil looks like, we know what evil is, and we know that was an act of evil. I just can't get around that. You have to be able to say that. So each one of us, we choose our own ways of protesting. What you did was you reached out, you said, okay, I'm going to see other people, there's something I got to do. You can protest in a peaceful, legal way, like athletes do all the time, by taking the knee. Kaepernick did it. That's a peaceful way. Or you can go to the extreme. You can destroy property, you can burn down buildings, you can do looting. And all looting is actually an attempt to attack the system of capitalism, which places more importance on, the accumulation of wealth, money, and things instead of people. And so we know this, and my family knows this extremely well. I'll tell you a little bit about my great-great-grandfather, Dr. James Still's mother, Charity. Now, we know that she died a fugitive. She died a criminal. I don't know if you knew that. His mother died a criminal, and why she was a criminal, why she went against the American justice system and was considered that she took the drastic, extreme measure of protest, and she ran away. She decided she wasn't going to take that anymore, and she took that extreme, decision that she ran. She got away from it, but that was illegal, and so she was dubbed, she was labeled a fugitive. She died a fugitive. She was successful. She did that. I want to back up. She did that because she knew she wasn't a slave, and she knew who she was, and so she wasn't going to go for that. Like many people today are not going to settle for that, and so she was successful. And because of her illegal act, Dr. James Still became who he was. If you know who he is, one of the most noted doctors, most esteemed people in Medford right now. And her youngest son, William Still, eventually became the great abolitionist. He became the father of the Underground Railroad. And if you think about it, over 175, 200 years later, here I am with you today, coming together, representing what she did. And I'm able to do this because she took those measures. So I ask people to think about that. In 1847, she died as one of America's most wanted fugitives. She had escaped her whole life. They lived that way her whole life. So as we're making judgments on people, on what they decide on how they want to protest and what they want to do, think about that and what history is going to. Now, you look at it a little different. But it was different. Nah, it's how you look at it and how you feel about it. And that's what I want to try and understand. I'm not condoning illegal behaviors or acts, but what I want to do is get in the minds and understand. Because if we don't understand each other, if we're not communicating with each other, this is going to just continue to happen, and it happens here, it passes by, it happens again, and you get desensitized to it. So for me, though, I believe the key is, and I've been on the spiritual aspect, I think the power of one pure positive power thought. I believe in it, regardless of what's going on externally. That peace comes from within. And we don't allow anyone to control that. My great-great-grandmother knew who she was. She knew that she was going to escape. And nothing outside of her, the beatings, the selling of her children, everything that happened to her, she knew who she was. So she didn't allow that to distract her. Now, one of the things with chant, no justice, no peace, I've really thought about that because my peace is really, really valuable to me. Earlier on, I could see you were stressed out, like you were losing your peace, like that. You wanted to get it back and you were letting external situations determine that peace. And so when you say no justice, no peace, it gives the pressure, I think, the upper hand. Because then what is, that control is based on what we deem as justice. What is that? Are we ever going to have justice? We may not. I mean, it's happened time and again. But I'm going to hold on to my peace, and I'm going to make a difference in the meantime. And it doesn't mean that I'm passive. My mother always said, don't mistake my meekness for weakness. Standing up for yourself, taking a stand, protesting here today, young as you are, stepping up in a environment that maybe is a little more conservative, that doesn't see things the way you do. That takes a lot of strength and power. And so, again, there's nothing passive about being true to yourself and who you are. And there's, that justice is what we create within ourselves. And so it's not something that somebody else is projecting on me. And that's what my grandmother, her mentality. And the thing that because we're all frustrated. We're all trying to figure out what can we do. And so one thing that I think, and I know you were going to do this at the event today, is have some time of just silence, where you quiet all the crazy thoughts, where you quiet all the 24/7 what media is giving to you, what social media is giving to you. Replaying this video time and time again. It's just getting instilled in your soul and in your heart. Take some time off. Take some quiet. I believe in one pure positive power thought. And when we create that, hopefully we do that today on this, this Facebook Live. Hopefully watch how difficult it is to stay just 1 minute in silence when we're together. If you extend that, I don't know how long that torture session was that George experienced. If we stay in silence that whole time, watch how strange it gets. It'll get really strange quick, and it may be less than 10 minutes. But the thought that we should have, I want to create this one pure positive power thought. It shouldn't be about you, it shouldn't be about me, it shouldn't be about the chaos and the craziness that's going on in our nation. I think that one pure positive power thought should be the empowering thought, an embracing thought, the power of pure love, pure peace, for bliss, for joy. I mean, just focus, and as your mind, your thoughts come in, something negative comes in, something fresh, you send it back to that pure peace, pure love, pure bliss, for joy. Because right now, he and the ancestors are working overtime. They're working overtime. I can feel it's like I travel with a posse of angels, and they know what's going on, and they're working at a different level. And so, but we can't hear them if our mind if there's too much going on. If there's too much chaos, too much confusion. In the last 2 months, we've been in this pandemic 2020 silence, I get to really open up. And I get to hear, I believe silence is the language of God. And I know God is a loaded word. I don't know who God is for you or what it is for you, if it's female, male, if it's this energy source, this divine source, this ultimate source, something higher than us. Whatever that is, I believe the communication is through silence. And so if we can get quiet, then we can hear. We can hear what needs to be done. And it's not a reactionary thing. Oh, because I want to go out and I would silence. Just get to yourself, because I also believe that peace is our original religion. We are peaceful beings. We don't like chaos. When there's chaos, when there's confusion, when there's conflict, what's that do to our souls? It makes you feel like you're caved in. So today, when we do, I hope we do a minute or two, or how long we want to do it. But I want us to really, really focus in on that. And I've been doing it now with this, living in this hell of COVID-19. How do you get your hand around? We were already dealing with that. So I just appreciate, again, you having me come in and, let's get it in between the spaces of noise and of confusion and those little teeny spaces of isolation, and let's focus in on what really can be done and create that one pure positive power thought, which will lead to one positive small act of kindness, which is what you've done. And that's my little spill for, you asked me to, express what it means for the Still family right now, and that's how we connected.
Thank you very much. That was amazing. Yeah, we love you.
That's who we are. This is how life should be. I mean, and it was kind of funny. I love this virtual stuff because it's not about the physical. Like, aren't we working on an energy level? Like, I can feel your energy. I can feel your energy. I can't see. I can't touch you. I can't. You told me you have green hair. What? Yeah, you got green hair. Okay, I was white. Okay, it's okay. Our skin colors may be different. I might be tall. I may be whatever. Doesn't matter. We connected, and I really believe George's spirit, his essence, is guiding you and is guiding me, and maybe he didn't want us to get together today physically. You know what I mean? Maybe he's protecting us. So tell Jacinda, because we've only talked once or twice. Tell me how you came up with this plan and what do you want to get out of it?
I came up with this like on a whim. I just felt that this needed to be, and I was just gonna get a few friends together and maybe get like friends and family, and that's why I made the group. And then they had invited more people, and then more people, and it just kind of kept going, and now we're here. So I wanted to do something to help change the mind of this town and help educate people in this town, because it is a hard subject to talk about, and I think people need to start putting up their voice and to start talking about it.
Communicating. It's not even just about talking. I think it's about communication, because we talk and not get anywhere, but that communication, I feel your vibe, and I said that right from the start. So.
It's just a lot, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate you coming to talk to me, even though it's not, and what we planned and everything. I still think that this is very comfortable and is good, and I gratefully thank you very much.
And for all the people out there, because I know how I was feeling, like just feeling kind of trapped. how difficult is it to take the first step? I mean, who, like, when I see the protesters, I'm like, whoa, who organized that? How do you do, what did you do to go about that? And you said you had hundreds of people that, were going to show up today and are probably, they're in your Vibe Center, so, but how do you do that? And then you had to contact police and you had to.
Yeah, honestly, I just kind of winged it. Like, I've never planned something like this before. Yeah, we went to a good friend first, and she gave us a contact for someone. Yeah, Carla had given us a contact for somebody who had she was in the office for like the Medford office and everything. And we had communicated with her, and she had told us to go to the township. And I tried talking to the township, and then I contacted the chief of police, and then I contacted the mayor, which they all got back to me, and they were all very supportive and saying, "What can I do for you? How can I help you with this?" And then I kind of just, with talking to them, came up with compromises and came up with a game plan there. Wow. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. And I told you the first thing I said when we spoke was, I just wanted to thank you. Because it takes people taking that step. It might not be a popular thing. A lot of people, Martin Luther King said that, it's important to the silence of your friends, not the loudness of your enemies. You already know what they're about. But it's the silence of the people that you think got your back that really hurts. And I think one of the things that was really just even thinking about it now, and it makes me just. I'm president of the Clancy Jones Institute for Social Advocacy, and Clancy Jones was Martin Luther King's speechwriter. He wrote the "I Have a Dream." He did all the drafts and all, and he was his attorney and his best friend. And we've been communicating. He just put out an official statement. So I had the question is, do you think it's worse now than it was when you and Dr. King was marching and fighting? And his answer without even hesitation was yes. It grabbed my heart. Like, how can it be worse than that? What have we done to make it worse? And it's not anybody, people talk about God, judgment, all this. Each one of us is accountable. Each one of us is accountable for what's going on. And until we can get quiet and say, okay, so where's my accountability in this? How can I change this? How can I be better? How can I reach out and have one pure positive thought or one act of kindness? So that really, and then right after that, that's like the day before we talked, and I was like, oh. And then I got the message from you, and it was like, wow, okay. Because I was going to sit back in my quiet time and just get empowered and, be in my own little world. But sometimes we do have to reach out and we have to say, okay. And the protesters, when I'm like impressed, I'm like, wow, how do you do that? And I think you were socially conscious, like because I wasn't going to come out without my N95 vaccine is official. And but you said you had all that in place as well. So it meant that much to you. Why does it mean that much to you?
I've lived in the town, and after living here and understanding how the people in this town work, this isn't the first time a situation like this has happened, and the community in this town has never really said anything, and kind of waits until it's swept under the rug, and then forget about it and go about the day. And I don't think that this town should be forgetting about this thing. It's important, not just to me, but to a lot of people in the whole world. Like, we should be talking about this and having conversations about this. We shouldn't be waiting until all this and then go, hard to not, I think. I know a lot of people haven't said something that they don't have the words to say it. So I think maybe it has kind of given people that bravery to start speaking and start finding their words and everything. Because I have a lot of people thanking me, but I don't think I should be doing this. This is just something that needs to be done. We can now move forward and having these conversations and keep thinking about what's going on in the world and not ignoring it.
What makes this different? Like, this has happened so many times. I was shocked just a month ago, maybe, with the incident in Jacksonville where, the young man was hunted down like an animal. And I mean, that killed my heart. And that was like blurred. And that's why I said I'm not going to watch any more of those. But what makes this different than, say, a Trayvon Martin or a Mike Brown or a Eric Gardner or a Sandra Bland or the thousands?
I don't think it makes a difference from any of those. I think all of them are just as important as what had happened this time. I just think people are starting to realize the amount of time that's been happening and how horrible it actually is. And I think people are starting to wake up and understand that. Because I think that all of those people as well deserve the same amount of respect and that people should be treating them the same way that they are treating this situation that they are with George Floyd.
Yeah. And one of the things I've thought about, because when you see something like that, it's so blatant. I mean, it's up in your face. There's no dispute. That's a pure act of pure evil. There is no dispute. The video is there. But when I think about the systemic covert racism, whether it's, the representation of people of color in positions in school districts in proportion to, the student population, or you look at professional athletes. I was a former professional athlete or an athlete in general. How, you see tons of these African American athletes on the field playing and using their bodies, they're valued for their bodies, but it doesn't transcend into positions of leadership, head coaches, administrators, athletic directors. You don't see that. And so, we're all okay with that, though. You know what I mean? It's all okay with that, So it's like the subtleties. George being killed, murdered in broad daylight is like, that's like, hitting right in the front of your head. But, and you probably know too, certain subtleties that are extremely oppressive, racist, and we just kind of go along with it. And then, the other thing is this. There are no victims. My ancestors, Valerie Still, she was no victim. She was a victim. There are no victims. Because once we say we give them the title of victim, that takes all their agency, all their power. George, he wasn't a victim. What's going on now is directly related to what happened to him. And there is going to be change. It comes slowly, but it's going to happen. So, no victim. What happens to me, I create. I create what happens to me, and I can change what happens to me. I can change the way I allow certain things outside on the external to influence me. And I'm hoping that today with this, because there's a lot of frustrated people. There's a lot of frustrated people that want to do something. You've been planning this. Your energy has been in this.
I'm just hot and with not just physically but emotionally. It's a lot to watch. I've been watching the news every single day, all day, watching what's going on, like, and it's a lot.
That's why we have to have, for me, and I understand because I was an elite athlete, competitive, type A personality. We all have to have that space. And most of us can't do that. We're so used to busy doing stuff, doing. And our souls are just like frustrated because it just wants peace, right? It just wants a little quiet time when you turn the radio off, turn the, your social media off, turn the TV off, and just create your own little world, even if it's a fake one. I'm going to create my own little world. And then when you do that, look at here. I mean, I attract someone like you, and it's like, okay, life ain't so bad. There's people out there that get it. There's people that don't look like me, that or sound like me, or think like me, that get it. It's not everybody out there isn't evil. Everybody out there isn't bad. Everybody isn't out there seeing this a certain way. So that's the beauty of it. But it starts with me. And this pandemic thing has given us a lot of opportunity to just get out of the rat race of being on the little wheel, what society tells us we need to be doing, and relax a minute. Breathe. So that's my little spiel. I always plan on coming today, man. I was going to put my boots on, my Kentucky Blue, mud boots. I was going to come out. I don't know how this girl got me to want to come out. I appreciate you. And we need to stay in contact. This can't be just a one and done thing. I'm going to be sending you tons of pure positive power thoughts, and I'm hoping you'll do the same for me. I'm sending it out to all the people now that are, something to happen, wanting something to change. And, if we sit back and we're waiting for a trial and we're waiting for people to be arrested and we're waiting, and that's going to make our day good or bad, it's a lot of wasted time. I think as I'm getting old, I don't want to waste 1 minute. And that's not to say that I'm not proactive and I'm not going to be doing something positive to help that change come about. Where's your mother? She's right there. She needs to know it. Because I haven't. Hey! What up? What's that? Oh, you always in the background. That's a mom for you, man. Mom's always got your back. I got one son. Mom's always in the background. Like, I can hear you on the phone. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Because that's going to change our world. Yeah, I appreciate it. You guys. What's that?
I did a little, she did a crack.
We're all.
You can only raise your kids so much, and then they make their own choices, and they make their own decisions, and I'm so proud of her.
Oh, you know why? Because she is not really your daughter. She is soul herself, so she's come here with her own, what she has to do and her purpose. And you can tell she's like, I'm going to do what I got to do. So that is beautiful. I mean, again, I just appreciate you doing this. And it's not about us, again. It's not about us. It's about yours. I mean, that right there, that doesn't break your heart. I don't know. Did you watch the video? Oh, okay. I haven't watched the video. I can't even imagine. I just can't imagine. I saw the still picture, and that was enough for me. It's like, yeah. So we need to give people. This is giving people some positive. Not looking at past the life was ruined, taken away from him. That shouldn't define who he is. I saw his little daughter on the news the other day, think she's 6. And that's George. You know, that's who he was. That's who he is. Beautiful little girl. You know, I don't want to remember him with the officer with his knee on his neck. And you know what? I pray, I send out positive thoughts to this officer. He's got to be in just a hell, not just because he's going to be physically ill, but because you have to live with that. I mean, if you have any kind of humanity, any kind, we all make mistakes, but if he intentionally just did that, and then that's one thing. But if he unintentionally, it's another thing because he has to live with that. And I wouldn't want to live with that. I mean, wow. Can you imagine? So, you know, I don't like getting caught up in the negativity of it because eventually what should happen is going to happen. But you know, we need to do more things like this where we're connecting and we're persistent. You're like, I don't care if we're not being, and then we're like on the Facebook trying to. Then you're there talking with everybody watching. You know, you're like, okay, I'm gonna get in here. So anyway, I really appreciate it again. Keep doing your thing, sister.